I've spoken with Dr. Wallach, with the other attending physicians, and with your nurses, too.
Let me guess. They all told you that you should take me out behind the woodshed.
Well, they mentioned a few things about your attitude. I can tell they didn't exaggerate.
Mr. Milton, you can explain to me how to use a cane or how to get along with some little pooch. But leave my attitude out of it, okay?
Mr. Buchanan, I'm not here to tell you how to feel. But I would like you to talk about those feelings. I'm not your wife or your family. I'm not going to cry or cringe. You can tell me anything.
Oh. Well, do me a favor, will you? Don't try and tell me that you know what I'm going through, because you don't.
Well, you're right. I don't know what it's like to have been shot. My accident was more mundane. I fell off a roof trying to fix the gutter. Yeah, it was just about this time of the day, nearly 5 p.m. Here. Feel. Oh, that's right. You don't know Braille yet, do you? Well, don't worry. If I can learn it, anyone can.
You're blind.
I can't see. I like to think there's a difference. I didn't believe them. Me, unable to see for the rest of my life? Impossible.
I said that.
Well, soon I realized this was the way it's going to be. This pitch black darkness forever. And that's when I started to take it out on everyone around me.
You got angry?
Oh, I ran the gamut. Angry 1 minute, depressed the next. Either way, I wouldn't let anyone get through to me.
That's normal, isn't it? A man isn't a machine.
No. A man's a man. Sometimes he's entitled to be a self-indulgent, self-pitying man. If you lost your sight and sang Yankee Doodle every morning, there'd be something seriously wrong with you.
Except there is something seriously wrong with me.
No, I know, but it isn't your blindness. I suffered from the same fear, Clint.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
You're afraid of letting them see you like this. Your children, your wife, and your friends. But if they can accept the way you are now, then you'll have to accept yourself.
How can I accept it? How can I accept it? Maybe if I'd have been born blind, you know, maybe then. But to have been able to see and then lose it.
Well, it seemed impossible to me, too. If I hadn't agreed to meet a counselor, I never would have left the room in the back of my house.
He helped you?
She. Her name was Alice. Alice Marsh. And she didn't try to get me up on my feet again or teach me how to feed myself. She just listened. And it was only after I started talking and letting my feelings out that she was able to teach me to cope.
Feelings? All right, Mr. Milton, you want to know how I feel? I feel blind. And like I'm part of some trendy new therapy. You know, let the blind lead the blind. Well, I don't buy it. And I don't want to cope. I want to see.
Well, there are many ways to see. And many forms of blindness. And you're the only one who can make the final choice. You can live in eternal darkness, my friend, or you can turn on the internal light. You have to be willing to turn it on and see exactly who you are. Try it. You might surprise yourself and see a man with true courage and lots of love, willing to share it with those who care for them. What have you got to lose?
Excuse me. Mr. Milton, is it?
What? What are you doing here?
Oh, you're Clint's father. It's very nice to meet you, Mr. Buchanan.
Yeah, it's the same here. Mr. Milton, I'm wondering if maybe I could see my son alone for a few minutes.
Oh, certainly, certainly. Thank you.
Mr. Milton.
Yes?
I'm Victoria Buchanan. I'm Clint's wife.
Oh, it's very nice to meet you. It seems I'm getting to know Clint's entire family today.
Oh, dear, don't mind Asa. He just feels whenever there's a crisis that he has to take charge.
From what I've heard of Asa Buchanan, he's used to having his way. It may not be so simple this time.
Is Clint resisting you, too?
Well, we can't force him to change his attitude. He has to do that for himself when he's ready. See, Clint needs to accept the unacceptable. He will, but it's going to take time.
I'm not just concerned about Clint. You see, we have 3 small children at home. They are brave as anything, but I know that this is taking a terrible toll on them.
Well, naturally, I'll want to schedule sessions with them and with you. You see, Clint's problem is also a family problem, and we need to deal with it together. That is, if your husband agrees to another session.
What if he doesn't?
Well, then we'll have to work that much harder. I can't say it'll be easy, Mrs. Buchanan, for you or your children. But if you want to get through to Clint, in spite of all his defenses...
I do. Whatever it takes, Mr. Milton, I will do it, and my children as well.
Then Clint will come through this. With all of us on his side, he doesn't have a choice. Goodbye, Mrs. Buchanan.
Mr. Milton?
Yes?
Larry Wolek told me how you lost your sight.
Clumsiest guy in Landview, right?
How long did it take you to adjust?
Well, it didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen without a lot of tears and screams and broken dishes, but I made it through, Mrs. Buchanan. And so will Clint.
Oh, I hope you're right, Mr. Milton. I want my husband back.